So this afternoon we are going to look at a topic called optics. Optics. How can we define optics? We are going to look at the definition. Then we are going to look at the different meanings of lights. We are going to look at lenses. We are going to look at classification or classes of lenses, identification of lenses, important terms of lenses, image formation by lenses, the lenses what's formula. So let's go by the definition. Optics is the branch of physics that studies lights. We study the properties of lights, we study the behavior of lights, and it's also study the interaction of light with what? Matter. So optics generally study what? Light. So when you hear optics, it is a branch in physics that want to discuss, that want to talk about, that want to lay more emphasis on what? On light. Not only to know the definition for light, but what are the properties of light. Under optics, we are going to study that. What are the behavior? How does light behave? We are going to look at it under optics. Then the interaction between light and matter. Because some scientists believe light is a ray, so it's not an example of matter. So how does light behave with solid, which is an example of matter, or behave with gas, which is an example, another state of matter, or behave with what? Liquid, which is another state of matter. So if optics is generally the study of light, there are about three meanings for light. When we mention light, it can be treated as rays. So when anybody mentions light, one of the meanings is that it can be what? Rays. So when lights denote rays, then we are going to study both mirrors and lenses to understand the two properties of light, to understand two of the properties of light. That is what? Reflection and what? Refraction. Reflection is through mirror and refraction is through what? Lens. Because reflection means repropagation of light ray when incidented on a plane. This is a plane. The ray from the sun falling on the plane and the ray is being sent back. That is what they call reflection. And we can only study the movement of reflection through what? Mirror. So when light denote rays, we need to study mirrors. Because mirror will explain the situation or the behavior of what? Reflection. And we also need to study lens. Lens will explain the behavior of what? Refraction. So I am trying to explain what a reflection is. I am not going deeply into that because I am not treating wave. I said reflection is the repropagation. Repropagation. This is the direction of the ray of light. Now, the ray is being repropagated, being sent back. So mirror do the work of reflection because when ray fall on the mirror, the ray is being sent back to the surroundings so that we can see the image of the mirror. So we also talk about refraction, and this one in refraction, we are going to talk about more of what? Lens. So when light means rays, we must study refraction, we must study reflection. So it is in mirror, we study reflection, and it is in lens, we study what? Refraction. That is one of the meaning of light. Another time when we mention light, we can have in mind waves. So another meaning for light is what? Waves. So when light denotes waves, we need to study other three properties of waves. I mentioned reflection and refraction under light. So under wave now we are going to study the remaining three properties that are polarization, diffraction, and interference. So the three properties that I've just mentioned are studied under wave. Are studied when light denotes what? Waves. So that's another meaning for light. So when somebody say light, that person will be talking about what? Rays. That person will be talking about what? Waves. And the third meaning for light is a particle called photon. That's another light. P-H-O-T-O-N-S. So when somebody mentions light, the person may have in mind particles like what? Photons. So under here, that is where we study something called laser, which is a specific type of what? Light. Under here too, we study quantum communication. So all these are lights. When light denotes photons. So I've just given 3 meanings. I can have more than, but these are the 3 major meanings we can always have for light. When a physics teacher mentions light, it can be rays, it can be wave, it can be photons. So in each of the 3 meanings, there are some things we need to study under that. So we can go back to the first meaning now. When light denotes ray, when light denotes rays, I told you we need to study 2 things here, and they are what? Mirrors and what? Lenses. So it is in mirror we understand what is meant by reflection. It is in lenses we understand what is meant by what? Refraction. So I am not going to pick both mirrors and lenses today because of the time. So let us pick just one of them. Let's pick lenses, which is one of the meaning of light when light denotes what? Rays. How do we define lenses? Lenses are transparent optical material. I repeat, lenses are transparent optical materials that are bounded by 2 surfaces, meaning 2 faces, of which one of the face must be what? One of the faces must be what? Curved. That's the definition for lens. It is a transparent optical material. Don't forget we are treating optics. When we say an object is transparent, the object allowed in and out of rays. Because there are 3 objects are classified into 3 according to physicists. We have transparent, we have translucent, and we have opaque. Now, out of these 3, lens is a transparent, meaning we can see object through it from outside, and we can see object through it from inside. So when ray of light can pass through the object in, and can still pass through the object out, that object is said to be lens. So this is an example of lens. I am seeing whatever is placed in front of me through it. Anybody in front of me can still see my eyes through it. So when an object allows the in and out movement of what? Ray, that object is said to be what? Transparent. Meaning a lens can never be in this form, because this is not transparent. Even if a lens can be produced from a plastic, but the plastic must be what? Transparent. A lens can never be an example of this, because this is not transparent. I cannot see any object through this, and nobody can see me through this what? Object. So any object you can see through it. You can see an object through something, or you see something through that object is said to be what? Transparent. So I go by the definition again. Lenses are transparent optical material bounded by 2 faces, meaning every lens must have 2 faces, and one of the 2 faces must be at least one of them must be what? Curved, which means the 2 faces can be curved and one can be what? Curved. Now that is the definition for what? Lenses. So let us see, in the next time we shall be looking at classes of lens and identification of lens. Thank you very much.